He just didn't practice today. Got a low abdomen.
Okay. And, this may be the case. Obviously, Brees is into his 40s now. Russell Wilson has talked about playing later. Aaron Rodgers. With what Tom has done, and the quarterback position so well, and all the experience these guys have, do you see this as becoming a trend in the NFL where guys will be playing later and later and being successful if they can keep their bodies in shape?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt, Rick. With sports science, barring major injury,
right?
I think these guys can play till they're 45 as long as their arm holds up. And with sports science and all the stuff that these guys are doing to stay in shape and keeping their arm strong, I don't see, unless their legs go,
Right.
But I don't see why they couldn't play till the 45.
And that position is all about recognition and experience. You've seen everything. So if you can match that experience with just a modicum of physical ability, that's the key to the position, right?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt. Because they know how to get the ball out of their hands. When you have 8, 9, 10 years in, you're not holding that thing very long anyway. But for those guys, they know how to get it out, get it up. As long as they're still accurate and their legs are healthy, man, that's what you're looking for.
Thanks.
Okay, next we're going to go to Ira Kaufman.
Bruce, some franchises, some teams, some quarterbacks just seem to excel on screen passes, Bruce, and I think the Packers are one of them. Favre was very good, and about Rodgers. So, Bruce, what kind of challenge is Todd Bowles facing this week in terms of, trying to generate a pass rush, and then you got Rodgers so adept with these flare passes and screens?
Yeah, they do a good job of getting the ball to their backs, and they've always, like you said, they've always been a good screen team. Screens haven't hurt us much this year. We've done a pretty good job. Wide receiver screens, halfback screens. That's the vogue in the league. So, but the Packers are really good at it, and it's a challenge for you to rush the passer, discipline, see that back slip out.
And Bruce, talk about the body language for Rodgers this year. Sometimes he looks a little sullen, but this year he's having the time of his life, Bruce, and he doesn't have Devontae Adams for a couple of games, and nothing seems to change.
Yeah, he looks very, very happy playing, and it looks like the marriage has worked out pretty good from last year to this year, and they're having Matt and he have a great relationship, and it's showing on the field.
Okay, next we're going to go to Jenna Lane.
Hey, Coach, this Packers secondary held Calvin Ridley to 0 catches this past week after having 3 100-yard games to start the season. Not this past week, sorry, they had a bye week, but this past game. What is it about this group that can make things so challenging for a passing game?
They're solid. They mix in man zone, different kinds of zone. They had Ridley open a few times. They just didn't hit him. But it wasn't like they just man-to-man and shut him down. They just didn't hit him. But they're a good, solid secondary, good tacklers.
And what about Za'Darius Smith? 3 sacks in the last game against Matt Ryan. What makes him such a problem for offensive lines?
He's a heck of an outside pass rusher, but they use him inside over the nose a lot too. And he's so quick and strong. Heck of a player, great motor. Love watching him play. He's a challenge for us.
All right, next is going to be Greg Allman.
Bruce, just want to ask you about your inside linebackers and obviously missing Vita on Sunday. Just how much falls to them in terms of them having to be sound and ready for, I guess, more blocks they might have to shed to get to running backs on Sunday.
Oh, I don't think there'll be much different. Nacho's done a heck of a job. They trust him at nose. I don't see there'll be Vita eats people up just because of his size, but those two guys, I think they trust what the front's in front of them, and they'll just play their normal ball game.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next is Scott Reynolds.
Hey, Bruce. Drops are an unofficial statistic, but there are a lot of national football stat websites out there that have the Bucs leading the league in drop passes this year. The living legend like Tom Brady throwing your backs, tight ends, and receivers the ball. Are you surprised there hasn't been more accountability among your players in catching more passes?
I don't know who the hell makes up these stats. I don't see us dropping the ball that much. We had a game where we did, but I don't put any stock in it. Our guys can catch, and we don't say shit about it.
Okay. And then also your front seven does a great job stopping the run and obviously leading the league again in that statistic. But do your corners get enough credit for being so good in run support and tackling on the perimeter? And how important are they to your number one ranked run defense?
Extremely, because people try to bounce the ball to corners, and most corners in the league like covering people. They get paid to cover. So our guys are extremely good tacklers, and that's kind of why we drafted them. They were tough, physical guys that could also add length and cover. So they fit the defense perfectly.
All right, next up is Ed Encina.
Hi, Bruce. Ronald Jones has had a lot of success, getting yards after contact this year. What would you kind of attribute that to? Is it just him being more confident in his running? Is it he's hitting the hole faster? Is it what would you say is just the reason why he's having so much success there?
I think he knows the offense. He knows what to expect. He knows the blocking schemes. I think he made Roquan Smith miss dead in the hole twice. I wouldn't say there was any contact, but he made him miss. He's always had that ability. He's really got much better patience. He's not running as fast to the hole and seeing things better this year, like he did near the end of last year. So he's just gotten growing in the offense.
And how much for him as he continues to develop? I know that when you're getting some guys healthier. You might get Fournette back eventually, Shady, and Keyshawn. And I know each of these guys have roles, right? But how much of his development is getting those regular kind of, not 20 carries a game, but something in that realm,
Yeah, he's a guy going into the season we knew we could feed 20 to 25 times. Then getting Shady, getting Leonard, we give him a blow, but I don't have any trouble. I'm having trouble handing it to him 20, 25 times and throwing it to him 5 or 6. So he can handle that load.
Thank you.
Okay, next is going to be Kevin O'Donnell. We have time for just a couple more.
Hey, Bruce, do you buy into the belief at all that players and teams can have the reputation of committing penalties and that it seems to kind of just snowball after that? I asked that because, the Bucs over the last 3 years lead the league in most penalties. And if you go back 10 years in the top 3. So I'm just wondering, do you feel that the reputation can kind of lead to more penalties?
I don't think a team's reputation, but players' reputations. I think officials come into the game with guys marked. And if it's close, they call it on them. And I look at DeMar Dotson last year. He got holding penalties that were not holding penalties because he was a marked guy. And so I think the same thing with Ryan Jensen. I think he's a marked guy. So with his hustle and effort after he plays to the whistle, and I think people are marked. I don't know about teams.
And one thing that you can do when it comes to penalties, is it just the personal foul penalties that you really can control more than those other holding penalties?
Yeah, like I tell you, poor technique usually leads to holding. You get your feet beat, and then if you're beat, I don't want the quarterback hit, so I don't give a shit if you tackle him. So I'll take the 15 yards and play from there. I don't want the quarterback hit. But as far as defensive penalties, personal fouls, yes, they got to be eliminated. But pre-snap penalties are the one that bugged me more.
We're going to close out with a question from Steve Isbitz.
Coach, did you ask the league to review the roughing the passer call on Shaq from Thursday? And if so, did you get any explanation that you can share?
No comment, brother.
And over the years, have you seen that a player can unmark himself? As far as, you mentioned a marked guy. Can a guy sort of work through that, or how does that go?
It probably takes a year or two, but once the officials have it in their mind, they have it in their mind.
Okay, that's all for today. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.